So the command pattern in Dart, because Dart is awesome. First, the command pattern has a couple different components, like the invoker, which can be a button, and a receiver, which can be something like a robot or a document or just about anything. And when you do something, when you invoke the action, when you invoke a command, it sends a command to the robot, and the robot moves. Now, earlier in the series, we've seen a couple of different kinds of commands that we would send to the robot. The first was a function, and it's a command because it has a receiver in there, and it sends an action to it. Lately, we've been working with command objects. Again, we have a robot that gets sent in there, and we tell it to move north. Tonight, we're going to look at something different, using a little bit of reflection and mirrors in Dart to send a command, a simple command, to the robot. Now, the very first thing that we're going to do in here is to import Dart mirrors so that we can use reflection. More on that in a bit. Now we're going to go down and comment out some of the buttons that we were using yesterday. Happy dance. That was good times. Happy dance. Now the button up that we've been working with, the simple command is you press the command, it sends it, and it moves in direction north. It works nice and easy. Now we're going to create a new kind of button. Call this button up 2. And here we're going to use our a function. It's also going to be called, the label is going to be up, just like the previous one. And we'll create an anonymous function in there. Tell the robot to move in direction north. It's an enum, sort of internal knowledge kind of thing that you don't really need to know, but well, you need it to implement. So we go ahead and we press it twice, and now we've moved up twice. And we end up at 0, 2. Now for this last one, we're going to create a new object, a new class, that's going to implement the command function, which implements function. And this is going to be a simple command. The simple command is going to take a receiver. Doesn't matter, it'll work with any kind of receiver. It's going to take a symbol that's going to describe the action we're going to call on it, and then a list of arguments that might get sent in there. And so the constructor takes a receiver, an action, and optionally arguments. And then like all the other commands, we need to implement the call function. And in this case, we're going to reflect on the receiver to get a reflection instance, and then we're going to invoke a method, action, along with any arguments that might have been passed in. And that's it for the simple command. Now we're going to come down here and create a third button, button up 3. It's going to be a same invoker. This button doesn't care what it is as long as it respects the call method. So we create a new simple command. It takes a robot receiver. It's going to use a pound symbol to move it, and it's going to move it in the direction of north. Again, this is an enum that we're using here. And that's it. That simple command should also work for us. We go down and create a button 3 up, and we press it. And there you go. Now this is all fine and dandy until we try to undo. This is where the different types of commands come into play. So if we call that and press the undo button, we get an error. The problem is here, the simple command doesn't have an undo function. It doesn't have an undo method. We just didn't add one. So one way to get around this is to go back up into the history class and add another guard clause. If the C is a simple command, then when we return, we don't want to add it to history list. That's part of the solution, but our function implementation of the command pattern also does not respect the undo. So we can come up here and say if the C is not a command, that is, if it's a function, then we return. And with that, now we can go ahead and undo everything. And it's really undoing that first one. It's skipping the other two that are in there because the other two don't respect undo. That's kind of a sloppy way of doing it, not really scalable. So another way to do it is to continue using Dart mirrors. And here we're going to reflect on the function, the call that's being passed in there. We're going to get its type, ask for the instance members, which are all the methods that are in there, and we're going to see if it contains the undo one. If it is, then we add it to history. And with that, we have our working solution. So it really wasn't all that hard to get it working with the 3 different types of commands. Just a little bit of gotchas, but the nice thing about the command pattern is that it lends itself to growth like this. As always, find out more at designpatternsin Dart.com. Thanks.